Hello everyone, welcome back to Linkside 201. Today we are going to begin a new module, Morphology, set 4.1. Okay, so recall that what morphology is. Morphology is the knowledge or the study of the internal structure of words. In other words, is the study of how words are formed. So if you are able to speak some language, say English, then you know the structure of some English words. Okay, let's look at some specific examples. Um, Before that, let's take a look at this question. Can we divide words into smaller units that still have a meaning? Which means that, for example, we have comfortable here. Can we break this word into subparts? And then the subparts still has meaning. Do you have an answer yet? Okay, the answer is yes. So for example, we have comfortable, we have two parts, at least two parts. We have comfort and above, right? And like reconditioned, we have condition, we have the, and re. At least we have three parts, three subparts for reconditioned, right? The rest of words show the same point. In other words, um, words has some words have some internal structure that a native speaker will know what it is. Okay. So the smaller units are called morphemes. Okay, so back to the example of comfortable, we have two morphemes in this word. Comfort is the first morpheme, and above is another morpheme. Okay, uh, let's look at these examples. So, is another common morpheme in English, right? We have unlucky, unhappy, unsatisfied. Has meaning and is smaller than a word, right? And this means state or condition. Happiness, goodness, wreckedness, right? We have happy and ness, two morphemes. Okay, so such smaller units are called morphemes. So just a side note that we are using the written system for convenience sake. Morphemes are composed of phonemes. So you may say this is, for example, like this happiness. This is a I instead of Y. Why do you say that this is happy? So don't get confused by the written system. We are talking about the sounds. Happy, happiness is the same happy. Okay. Okay, and so this set of morpheme like and this, they have some specific semantics, but sometimes we have some morpheme which do not have some specific semantics. They do not have a specific meaning, but they do have some grammatical functions. For example, third person s, looked is s, and looked is ed. They do not have really solid semantics, but they do have some grammatical function. Okay. So the definition of morpheme is that the smallest linguistic unit that has a meaning or a grammatical function. Okay. Let's look at the internal structure of this word over simplification. So we have a simple, and then we have a simplify. And then simplification, this would change the whole thing into a noun, right? Okay, so original simple is an adjective, and we can change the adjective into a verb by adding this morpheme. And then we can change this verb into a noun by adding another morpheme, right? And then we can have another morpheme. So this will change the meaning, right? Over. And then we can have a grammatical morpheme as plural morpheme here. Okay, now we are going to categorize morphemes. Okay, so let's take a look at this big picture. So there are different types of morphemes using different criteria. Okay, so the first criteria is whether a morpheme can stand alone by itself. Then we have a difference between free morpheme and bound morpheme. Let's look at free morpheme here first. Okay, and free morpheme has two subtypes: closed class and open class. Okay, free morpheme first. So free morpheme means that they can stand alone by themselves. So words are also free morphemes. And free morphemes are also named as stem or base. Okay, so they are words, but they are also morphemes. On the other hand, we have some other morphemes which must be attaching to someone else, right? And there are two types of free morphemes: closed class and open class. So content morphemes are open class. Content morpheme means that they have some solid semantics, they have some solid meaning. And one feature of content morpheme is that it's fairly easy to create a new one and add the new content morpheme into the language system. In other words, just create a new word. On the other hand, we have closed class. Let me go back again. So in English, content morpheme are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay. On the other hand, we have function morphemes, which are closed class, which means that it is hard to create a new one and contribute more abstract meaning. So, for example, in English, we have pronouns, preposition, conjunction, articles, and auxiliary verbs. This type of words are function morphemes, and they are relatively stable in the language system. It's hard to create a new one and add into the system. Okay. Okay, we just covered this part. And then let's take a look at the other end, bound morpheme. Okay, so for the bound morpheme, at the very beginning we have these two types. We have affix, we have bound affix, and then we have bound root. Actually, the status of bound root is very interesting. So, like sieve, we have perceive, receive. This is very interesting because I think the status of bound root is still controversial. Whether bound roots are morpheme is an issue, I think. For me, I don't think bound roots should be a morpheme because this will violate our definition of morpheme. Our definition of morpheme is the smallest unit, which has a meaning, right? And bound root does not have any specific meaning or grammatical function. So it's kind of interesting. It's like a placeholder for other guys to attach to it. Okay, so we are not going to focus on bound root. Instead, we are going to pay more attention to bound affix. Okay, and for affix, we can classify affix from two aspects. The first one is the position of the affix, and the other one is the function of the affix. Okay, let's talk about the position of the affix first. So, okay, let's go back a little bit. So, bound morpheme are those morphemes that never exist as a word, as words themselves. They have to attach to some morpheme. Okay, so yeah, we can classify affix by its position relative to the stem. So if an affix is attaching to the beginning of words, then it's called prefix. Like as in unhappy, in as in impossible, or an affix can attach to the end of words. Okay, like this, happiness, happily, right? And sometimes the affix can attach within a stem, in the middle of a stem. We don't have a real infix in English, but bloody is something close to an infix. Then bloody-tastic, right? And then in other language, like in German, we have circumfix. So the affix just surround the stem. Okay. So we are using position to define affix, to classify affix. Now we can use function to define affix as well. So affix can be defined by its function or meaning. Okay, so there are two types of from this perspective, we have two types of affix as well: derivational and inflectional affix. So derivational affix is an affix that changes the word class of a root or stem, or it adds extra meaning to a root or stem. For example, this is a derivational affix because it changes a stem from adjective into a noun, right? Kind is an adjective, and if we have ness attaching to kind, then we have kindness, and it becomes a nominal, right? And also, so this change the word class, part of speech, and then on do not change the part of speech. However, it add new meaning to the stem. Happy become unhappy, right? So this would be derivational affix. On the other hand, we have inflectional affix as well. So inflectional affix is required by the grammar. They do not change part of speech of a stem, and they do not add new meaning as well. So we have some English example like the plural s, possessive s, right? We have dogs, the dog's dish, and we have the third person present tense s as well, ing, ed, en, and for adjective we have comparative, superlative, right? So they do not add new meaning. They're just required by the grammar. Okay. So here's a summary again. Okay. That's it for today's lecture. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.